Alright guys, welcome back to Two Banks of Four podcast, our weekly show where we talk about football and really everything that just surrounds it. Obviously, we're all aware of the significance of the last week and everything that's sort of gone on. Football's been called off, but that leads us on to a slightly different episode this week where we talk
about football in general, really.
Yeah.
There's no specific topic. The only thing that's really happened is the football got called off. In England, that is. Obviously, if there is anyone is watching from abroad or any Bundesliga lovers, we're not going to be touching on that because honestly, I don't think any of us have a clue about that. Yeah. So
anyway,
and we got Cal back.
Week
2 for Cal.
Week 2 for Cal. Going forward, it is our last week in Worcester for probably a significant amount of time, which probably doesn't mean much to you, but it means you're going to see a change in the lineup quite a lot. Aki will be back, who's been gone for a few weeks, and we're going to have the fourth member could be anybody, to be honest with you. I don't even know it's going to be. I'm sure you don't. Yeah, it could be anyone. And we lose Adam Hilliard, who's been here
unless they wanted to pay more expenses.
Day one. He might come up on the train every now and then.
Now and again.
Yeah, that'll be good. But yeah, lads, first of all, where were you? You found out the Queen died, the football died, everything started crumbling. Your initial thoughts?
I think
on the football, yeah.
I mean, wow. Bit annoying, to be honest. I understand it, but I don't understand that's a lie. No, my argument would be that it'd be more respectful to play the game.
Yeah, but that's not it.
But that'd be my argument.
I'm not going to point any fingers, but obviously,
certain clubs that play in red and play in a certain area of the country.
I think they had to call it off because it was too risky. They couldn't.
Could you imagine in Anfield just hearing the boos?
But it'll be like that anyway tonight.
Yeah, I think they'll still do it.
It's the end of the day. The Scousers clearly have a distaste towards England as a country. Yeah. They very much...
Honestly, not every Scouser.
No, not every Scouser, but the vast majority of Liverpool fans clearly see themselves as a separate kind of area. And to be fair,
well, that's what they say,
they've been... but they're an area of the country that's been disregarded by Tory governments in the past.
Yeah, just like to say, as someone who has to live in Liverpool next year... Do we want guys? I'm staying out of this.
No, but I agree with the fact that they have distaste towards
lovely city centre.
They have distaste towards obviously the rest of the country. So whether you agree or disagree that they're probably going to do it.
But the PL took that into account, didn't they?
The Premier League took that into account. Obviously, Liverpool turned off comments on their tweet announcing it.
Hendo and the female captain, they've both signed the book, so
it'll be interesting. But at the end of the day, as non-Scouts, it's not really our business.
It's not our place, is it?
But they find out tonight. They play Ajax, and they're meant to be.
It could be the opposite. We saw what they did for Ronaldo when Ronaldo obviously lost his son, was it? I think, and they gave him around. I know, but like.
As Ronaldo, Margaret Thatcher.
No, as like an ex-United player, and you didn't think he was going to get a round of applause, maybe, but fair enough. But anyway, on to the day's episode. It's a bit of, like we said earlier, it's a bit of everything. We each brought a topic, or game to the table, really, and then towards the back end, we'll do the Two Banks of Forecast, that much of thing. What did we call the bet slip thing in the end?
The bet slip thing. I don't even got a name for the bet slip. That's up for grabs. The quiz was called 2 Ranks of 4.
Yeah. The quiz also starts this week. And if anyone's watched Top Gear, you'll understand the format of how they used to get a celebrity on or a guest. They do a lap in the car and then they rank them on like a board. We're going to try and do the same thing but with the quiz, where our guest, which this week's Cal, will probably be changing each week now, and each guest can come on and try and beat the score. Maybe they'll get some 2 Banks for mug by Christmas or something. We'll see. So let's get it underway. Fudge, do you want to bring your question, your topic, whatever you brought to the table today?
I'm going to go for a bit of a debate starter, I think. I would like to know who you think the best manager of Premier League time is.
You can kick this one off.
Come on.
You say your name. I can go around and say your name first, and then we'll get into the meat.
Do you want to change that slightly? So I think we're all going to say similar. Do you want to go top 3?
Well,
there's a bit of room for debate. I can imagine we're all going to say Fergie.
Yeah.
Well, I was going Wenger. This is what I wanted to debate.
Okay. Wenger's shocking.
I'd go Fergie, Wenger, and probably Pep. Because Pep the bloke's just ridiculous, isn't he?
I think that's a fair list. I'll go with Fergie definitely as the best. It's hard to compare because none have really had the longevity in comparison to Fergie
or Wenger. Really,
I think I'd have Klopp over Pep. I think, and that sounds stupid.
Yeah, this is where we have some meat to the debate.
Just because of the different teams they both took over and the budgets and Klopp's in the Champions League. I'd go Fergie, Wenger, Klopp. Yourself?
That third spot's difficult, isn't it? Where you've just weighed up between Pep and... I'm going Pep over Klopp. I'm going to put Fergie in at number 2. And I'm going to put Wenger in at number 1.
I think got the same three. I'll go Fergie first. I think you hear so much about him, and obviously how different the culture at Man United is now compared to how significant he was in that sort of 20 years of dominance. Second, I'm gonna.
So he puts Sam Allardyce or something.
No, I think it's between Pep and Wenger. I think Wenger, he's got that invincible season. If he didn't have that invincible season, he'd be about I don't think. He'd either be in my
I think
top
Pep,
5.
I personally, if he didn't have that invincible season, I would put Pep.
That is quite a big thing to do
an
in an invincible season. So I'm going to go Pep second, Wenger third. I think Pep's just sort of too he's too influential.
If he carries on going at City, he could be.
He's brought the game to another level.
He's modernised the game, hasn't he?
He could be way more successful than Fergie was if he carries on going at City. But it just depends on how many years he actually stays there for, really. But Wenger at number 1, that is a shocking decision.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? Go on, what's your thoughts?
My thinking with Wenger comes more obviously on the football pitch as well, but Wenger almost off the pitch. We talk about Pep changing the game. Wenger was a footballing genius and a player spotter. You always hear the story of with Henry, the money Wenger generated, they then put into the training ground. He set up this new Arsenal side, and you always read stories of players who are coming big now. Wenger always wanted what a really silly example is Neto at Wolves. When Wenger was still at Arsenal, Neto was 17. Wenger was looking. I just think the way that the bloke, he was so calculated in what he did. His recruitment was so good that as a total football manager, Wenger wins. And obviously, if you look at all the comparisons, the only bloke who beats Wenger, I think, for games won and possibly in games managed, is Fergie. So I fully accept why you see that. And to be honest, it's not the most solid argument ever. But for me, I think Wenger, total football manager, is the greatest ever to do it.
I think Wenger as well. He was the one that first sort of brought in the whole not professionalism to the game, but he was the one that first implemented players having strict diets.
Not smoking.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm coming at this angle for Wenger is almost that whole.
He revolutionised the game.
Yeah, no, I get that, but then I think also with his bringing players in at a young age, I think he had to do that more because the likes of Fergie already had such a big pull coming to United. Wenger had to adapt in that situation. You can't go out and be the big dog when you've got the best team, which probably you've seen in Premier League history.
Do you not think the last 5 years of Wenger's tenure kind of brings it down a little bit?
Yeah,
obviously he won a few FA Cups, but
is that
team, the team you see that comes up on the graphic every now and then, it's like the Liverpool team with Mourinho and that always makes the rounds on Twitter. The Arsenal team where they got Shamak up front and Walcott, and it's
I don't think
terrible.
I don't think you can pin that at Wenger. That was a period of turmoil for Arsenal, and Wenger stayed. You look at Fergie, did a fantastic job and insane longevity. I'm never doubting that. But you also look at the time he did get out.
He had to.
He knew. But equally, he more than had the right to walk away from that after the years of service he put in.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm coming at. I think if you think and these days, the thing that sort of upsets me a little bit with football is they're always called a head coach.
Yeah.
And I want the bloke in charge of my club to be in charge of my club, and I think for the long part of his tenure, Arsene Wenger was in charge of that club, and that's what I rated about him. And it was all of those actual skills he had away from tactics and training and the day-to-day football club stuff. He had all that other element to him, which is why I'd love to see him come back as in the director role or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of you look at United and Arsenal after those two managers left, because they did run the club almost as you like. The second they left, the club just went straight.
Yeah, exactly. And I think and United Arsenal was massive.
Yeah.
It was always.
It's going to take some time to get that back as well to the heights that it was.
It'll probably never be back to the point where it was, unless there's two managers like those two again going head to head.
City and Liverpool and Klopp and Pep have also almost took that. Yeah. It used to be the Wenger, Fergie, Arsenal, United. Now it's kind of shifted to Liverpool, Pep, and Klopp and City, and it's not a bad thing for the Premier League. I think it's good. These things. think we've got to remember these things always come in cycles, especially in the Premier League. Like throughout, there's been times in period where West Brom were great, Ipswich were great, Leeds were great, Villa were great, Wolves have had time. Each of these clubs, they always have their time when they come to the top. City right now they're doing that. And look, I've banged on about so many times with City. They've got all the money in the world, but it doesn't matter. The setup they've got at that club is unbelievable. The people they've got running that club.
Yeah, well, just the City, like the whole group.
They've invested in the area. I mean, they've invested in the training facilities. They knew financial fair play was coming in, so they put so much money into their academy. And now what they're doing is they're selling all their academy graduates to Southampton and Stoke. And like,
you look at them this season. I think they turned over something like £52 million profit.
I have a feeling they make a profit.
In the transfer window. And bear in mind that's after signing Haaland, Phillips,
Alvarez as well.
Alvarez. They signed a different left back as well.
Anderlecht was it?
Yeah,
and the goalkeeper Ortega.
Exactly. They're signing 5 players and still making £52 million profit. There's no other team what are doing that in the Premier League, really. Like in terms of on the scale of City to them going, no, they don't even have to bat an eyelid. They know they're going to compete for that Premier League this year.
You know what summed it up for me? And I know it was a meme, but you know what summed it up for me. And you might disagree with me. When they were getting done for financial fair play, it looked like they were going to be under an embargo. That video of the UEFA headquarters of their chief exec walking around the corner with about 25 lawyers.
You just knew.
If that was Villa, Southampton, Newcastle before they got taken, you'd have one man and his dog trying to defend their football club in the European Court of Law. They'd be getting battered. 2-year transfer ban. Even Chelsea couldn't escape a transfer ban. City just did it. Like,
just quickly then, just bring it back managers. Obviously, as a podcast, we can have Fergie number 1. I'm not going to die on that hill. I want to just put my Wenger point forward.
I think Wenger's... Look, it's one of those shouts that you can't completely disregard but it's hard for someone to
just to quickly to wrap up the manager thing. So Fergie 1, Wenger 2. That Pep versus Klopp debate. Just in as managers, obviously there's external factors, but who's the better manager? Pep.
Klopp.
You were the one who... And this is what I want to know. Why Klopp?
Right, so my argument for Klopp is, and obviously City fans back Pep, Liverpool fans back Klopp. One came in with a team that was rotten, right? Rodgers worked the miracle getting that team to second, and look, Suarez was incredible, and Sturridge as well. When Klopp came in, Sturridge weren't the player he was. Suarez was long gone. The shell of the team, Skirtle was still knocking around. Pretty much Daniel Agüero in his last year of his contract. So. You had Mignolet in goal, Moreno at left back, Klein at right back. Henderson, was he the player that has eventually gone on to do things? No, he was very hit and miss. Gerrard just left the season before.
Spent lots of money on strikers as well, like in that period.
I'm pretty sure they bought Origi, failed and loaned him out. I might be wrong. I might be wrong on that. But what I'm saying is the squad he took over was terrible. The squad Pep took over wasn't up to City standards, but it was still a league-winning side. Pellegrini had done well with it. Still had the likes of Yaya Toure, but a lot of those City players were walking into that Liverpool side. But the way he sold his big players, got rid of Coutinho, big money, key player for Liverpool, one of the only shining lights that came out of the Rodgers era, and was still there. Sold him, managed to pull the best centre-half, and one of the best centre-halves now in Premier League history at the back, and the goalkeeper, who was sought after that Champions League run. Yeah. He's been to 2 Champions League finals, something Pep hasn't managed to do. He's been to 1 Champions League final, obviously.
Yeah, the Champions League. The Champions League is
won a league,
saving grace, I think.
Won a league after 30 years of not winning a league at Liverpool. He's won the FA Cup, he's won the League Cup. He's won everything that there is to win, while spending a significant amount less than Pep. But being the only manager to have a positive record against Pep. You know, I think... You give Klopp Pep's budget, I think he does scary things. See, I think he dominates.
I disagree
disgustingly.
Because I think the way Klopp's done it in Liverpool is exactly his style of how he likes. Like Pep obviously likes to be able to go out and buy who he wants when he wants. If he wants a player, he can get them in. Like Klopp is players have to suit his system. I mean, you look at Trent. Everyone always talks about Trent, system play. Look at Henderson. I think he's a system player. I think you put Trent or Henderson in a different team in the Premier League, and then I'm not saying they're going to look shit, but they're going to look.
I
think with Pep as well, his argument is like what we said at the start, how he's changed the game. Like Ederson, buying a goalkeeper for his feet. Like you break that down as a statement, it sounds crazy. And the way, like, where does João Cancelo even play?
Yeah,
that sort of role of, and I think that's where Pep for me wins in the sense that the bloke is a genius, and he's also slightly insane.
Really?
But he is at the top of the game, and he's got the best resources, so he can do it like that. And a lot of managers would be better if they could do it the way Pep has. But I still think Pep beats Klopp.
I think Pep does beat Klopp. But the one thing I will say about Klopp is, as like a manager and a person, he's been completely suited to like Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, across these past years. I don't think Liverpool would swap him for any manager in the world. No. I think there's things that you want out of a manager more than just his like results tactical ability, and I think Klopp's been a 10 out of 10 at Liverpool.
Yeah, 100%. It's gone beautifully, the pairing. And Dortmund's official account even tweeted when he took over saying what a combination, because I think there is a lot of similarities between Dortmund and Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely.
Not even the same anthem, just little things like that. Very passionate fan bases. You wouldn't want to play them under the lights.
Both the second biggest clubs in their league. Anyway, that's my part done really. With Wenger, Fergie,
I like that.
Klopp and Pep.
So we'll move on to the next bit after the break.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, so for the next bit of the pod, like we said at the start, we're all bringing our own little section today because there's no football being on, so there's nothing to really reflect on. I've completely stole something from TalkSport, and I think no one's really done it on a podcast before, but that is Autobiography Wars. And if you don't know how the game works, and if you are watching from TalkSport, please don't sue us. I doubt anyone is, and if you are, sign us. You know, what have you got to lose?
I can tell that your job involves sitting in a car.
I
haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
Anyway, Autobiography Wars. What I've done over the last couple of hours is I've had a little scheme through a few autobiographies. They could be players, they could be sportsmen, they could be sportsmen, they could be celebrities. But I've had a little go through. I've took a quote from this autobiography. I've got one for each year, and your question is, can you guess the celebrity out of the two I'm going to give you?
So you've had a great morning, you have.
No, I've actually been with. I got home and did it very quickly. So if there is any obvious ones, So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Go on.
You go first.
You're just going to make it like communal, or sort of just discuss
Before we start, does Gabriel Bonahor do this?
No, he doesn't.
That's like the baseline test.
Max Rushton did it. He used to host Soccer AM.
Right, okay.
It's a little bit of
I put Max Rushton slightly above Cal Lane.
We'll do communal. We'll do communal, and you can each say your own guess. So, this first one is Pep Guardiola versus Eddie Hearn. Both could have been taken off the internet, out of a book, whatever.
Oh, there's a 50-50 shot.
This is a 50-50 shot.
Okay, that's right.
So, the quote is, if failure is unacceptable to me, then by extension, winning is everything. Some people might think this is a brutal outlook, but it's central to my welfare. The focus and drive requires me to be in a great place mentally. I'm fulfilled by the challenges and will always have to meet the target, because to me, results are everything.
Pep.
It's got to be
that was way too sophisticated for
Pep Guardiola or
Can I hear it in the Spanish
accent?
Just to know. Can I hear it in the Spanish accent?
I don't know what Spanish accent is.
See, I'll speak first. I think it's definitely Eddie Hearn. One, if Pep Guardiola actually wrote an autobiography. Do we know that?
No, yeah, he has. Yeah.
Two, I think Eddie Hearn. I remember watching.
He doesn't have that sort of language.
No, I think it's Pep.
I remember watching a Stephen Bartlett podcast with Eddie Hearn on, and that is literally exactly how he spoke. As in, that's how he spoke to his kids. That's the mentality he had. That everyone's it's taking part that counts. He firmly disagreed with that. He firmly won with it. So I do think it's Eddie Hearn, but obviously it is something that Pep Guardiola.
I'm sticking with Pep.
It's pretty 50-50.
Eddie Hearn, is that your final answer?
Yeah, Eddie Hearn's what I'll go.
Pep.
It's gonna be
the answer was Eddie Hearn.
Is it from that podcast?
No, it's not. It's from Eddie Hearn's autobiography. So there you go. That's 1 point to Adam, 0 to you two. Could add that onto the 2 banks 4.
No, we don't. There we go.
Second one, Thomas Tuchel versus Ryan Giggs.
They're quite similar.
It was a brilliant advertisement.
You might want to take that back.
They're both in football.
Adam, let's just.
I thought this
isn't from Giggs's Pell.
I thought you were going to do that. No, but I thought you were going to do Thomas Tuchel, Alan Widdicombe.
Half the total Giggs.
Okay. You'll like if that's the way you're looking at it. You'll like the next one. I promise you. It was a brilliant advertisement for the strength of the Premier League. 2 European Cups in a history is a lot for a Premier League club. But there are reasons for that, and the balance has always been between Milan and Madrid anyway. But the Premier League has improved, the quality of players in England has improved, and although English clubs have no design right to succeed, they have the best chance of consistency in Europe right now.
Christ, I ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
I've got to think, right, surely it's got to be Tuchel because Ryan Giggs hasn't been about for a few years, obviously.
Yeah, but in that he said that the Premier League, like the quality's like improved. So it's almost like
Exactly.
he's talking about. From
Why are you talking about Milan and Madrid then, Giggsy? Why would Tuchel be
No, he's saying
like
that
a press conference?
whoever the quote is from, they're saying that that's where the Champions League's been balanced.
Yeah, I know what they're saying.
I genuinely don't
It's
know.
got to be Ryan Giggs though, because Milan, since when did Milan win the Champions League? Do you know what I mean? They haven't been balancing over there for a fair few years.
I'm going to say Giggs because
I'll
you
say
wouldn't
Giggs,
choose a bloke like Giggs to get involved in the podcast unless he was the answer.
Yeah.
Giggs,
I'll go Tuchel.
Tuchel,
Giggs.
Giggs. The answer is
Ryan Giggs, isn't it?
Ryan Giggs reflecting on his Champions League win in Moscow against Chelsea.
Fair.
So yeah, then
Oh,
this is where the levels start getting a little bit harder, I think, and a little bit more out there. Because obviously that one was a 50-50 guess. This one you've actually got to think about, I think.
What, from Fresh? Oh, you still
Oh, no,
stay
you still
50-50.
get-
I was going to say it'd be well hard.
Okay. Andre Iniesta or Noel Gallagher?
Similar
remember, I know it's an obvious thing. Oh, I'm a Noel Gallagher fan, but I might have done that to
Wait,
throw
you're
you
a Noel
off.
Gallagher fan?
I might have
You
done that.
been?
I might have
You
done that
didn't
to throw you off. When you're seeing yourself on massive billboards in Tokyo, honestly, it is unbelievable. It might have been the one time in my life where I thought, wow, because how was it, whatever it is, how has it got this far? Why are all these people obsessed with us before we've even played?
It's got to be Noel Gallagher. He says us. The way he says us.
Why would Tokyo be
Iniesta.
into NG?
Iniesta or Noel Gallagher? I'll repeat it again.
Iniesta was Vissil.
Iniesta played in Japan, yeah.
Yeah, but exactly,
When
so
you are
that's the
seeing
obvious
massive billboards of yourself in Tokyo, honestly, it is unbelievable. It might have been the one time in my life where I thought, wow, because how has it got this far? How has it landed here? Why are all these people obsessed with us already before we've even
See,
played?
I think Tokyo would be the like pinnacle of Noel Gallagher's career,
Yeah,
where he's
why
like
did
he
Iniesta
thinks
be-
not
Exactly,
getting.
yeah.
It-
Why did Iniesta be like he's had the new camp sold
I
out?
think it's NG.
You can't win a World Cup and then be won over by Japan.
Yeah. And
So,
No.
no. The answer was, in fact,
Iniesta.
Noel Gallagher.
Yes.
So that means you're on a clean. You're going strong.
I got two.
2,
Got
1. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So the final one: Mika Richards versus Jonathan Ross.
Can you
If it's Jonathan Ross, I want the W and the R.
Mika Richards versus Jonathan Ross. If you were to ask me what's the one thing I'd miss most when I'm dead, it would simply be being alive. I can't think of anything I'd single out. I like to approach my life in this manner, like a happy idiot, and in that spirit, I try and find something to enjoy in a small and zen-like way about everything. Washing up, making the bed, hoovering. Not that I do much of those things anymore, and I'm sure if I did, I'd run out of things to appreciate. But even in the end result, you can genuinely find something to like in everything.
Micah Richards is a happy idiot. So
Yeah, he's
I'm going to go
I think
Micah
Jonathan
Richards.
Ross is there as well.
Yeah, but would Jonathan Ross say that many S's in a sentence? I don't think he would.
I'm going Micah Richards.
We've got to go
Off the
for
bat.
Ghostwriter.
You locking in Micah
Oh
Richards?
yeah, I think that was his sort of style.
I'll go Micah Richards.
Micah Richards.
How many questions are left?
It's the last
We
one.
can only draw if you go opposite. If you say Jonathan Ross, we could draw.
Michael Richards there.
The answer was Jonathan Ross.
Ah,
I was
guys.
just saying, I did think Jonathan Ross, but I was just doing it tactically.
Should have played your.
Really shouldn't.
So that's clean sweep for Adam.
Well, it's not. I said
Yeah,
Michael Richards.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, I said
Well,
that's
it's a
what
win.
I
Is it a win?
Adam wins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
3-2-1. I like that.
But anyway, it's a bit different, wasn't it? You know, we're not going to get to do that most weeks.
Yeah, let us know if you like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
a bit of different.
Think not
section.
serious as always.
But yeah, that was what Autobiography was.
Right, so my question is surrounding stats. What's more important, the eye test or a player's stats in determining how good a player they are?
Well, obviously, I think there's obviously a balance. Like, there's got to be some degree of numbers to a player's game. Like, but for me, eye test wins every day. If you're paying your money to watch something, you want to be entertained, and especially with certain players, like, it's very difficult for a player to score a goal by themselves. Like, we talk about wingers, and everyone always marks them on like chance creation, goals and assists is what I'm after. Like, you could be a fantastic winger if your striker can't score. It doesn't make you a bad player, does it? Like, and I've watched Adama play for 2 years. I watched good Adama, bad Adama. There's about 6 months where you watched Adama and you thought, give this man a striker. And I think the eye test is so crucial. I think the eye test actually is what defines people who can talk about football and people who can't. Like, sometimes you go on Twitter and you just think you read some of the tweets and some of the player comparisons, and you think, have you ever been to a game of football before? Like,
the kids these days are definitely growing up on stats.
So
and it's going to be killer because
it's
of
really
Haaland.
going to be killer.
Haaland is going to set the bar for the next 10, 12 years. Any player that comes after that is suddenly going to be compared to this freak of nature.
But even like Salah has got fantastic numbers. But for me,
the eye test isn't that pretty.
And the eye test isn't that great. And for a lot of the time, despite the bloke's numbers, when he gets put in the debate, for me, he doesn't always win against players with a lot lesser numbers.
Yeah.
So I think if I had to pick one, I'm saying the eye test. But obviously, there's got to be results. You are paying money. There's got to be some form of results at the end of the day.
I think if you look at players like, for me, like a player who doesn't have enough stats but has a real good on the eye is a player like Saint Maximin. Like, you watch him and you think, yeah, he's great, and he does. You don't get me wrong. Every 4 or 5 games, you might score a worldie or get a great assist or something. But for me, there's not enough stats there to say, oh yeah, he's a brilliant player just because he looks good on the eye. Like, yeah, fair enough, you can beat players, but when you aren't contributing to a team as much, I mean, you see Newcastle when they take him out of the team now, they can still play great, probably even maybe a tiny bit better. Obviously, I know he does add that bit of flair, but for me, players like that don't get enough.
I suppose the only issue with the eye test is how you use it. Like, you can probably make a 2.5 minute video on Twitter about anyone to make him look half decent.
The
eye
test
problem, has to be done over a certain period. Like, the whole of Hazard's Premier League spell is a well-worthy eye test.
Someone could get Olivier Giroud's career, and it's said all the time, you could make a compilation of it.
3 minutes of Giroud.
And you think he is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But I think stats, I've always looked at it like this. Team-wise, you look at stats. You know, a team can play great football, concede goals, they can get relegated while playing great football. What's the use in that? Scott Parker tried to get Fulham to play nice football the season they went down. Everyone said, look, he had to go at it. Got linked with the Spurs job when Poch went, when Jose went, and it never really worked for Parker. Obviously, he's, God knows. I know he's been linked with Rangers now. I think that'd be a good move for him. But the thing is, if you look at team stats, you can look at Liverpool's stats right now. For example, this is completely just off on a whim here. You can see that they've got great defensive stats, great attacking stats, solid midfield stats, creative plays. You know they're a good side from those stats. You look at the defence and you say, oh, well, that defence has got terrible stats. You know that the defence, obviously the individual players aren't going to be performing that great. Whereas you look at the eye doesn't tell you, the stats don't tell you that Van Dijk and Trent have been playing amazing on the right-hand side, for example. I know they don't play there together. I'm picking out 2 players. Trent and Van Dijk could have had the best season individually you've ever seen. But if Gomez and Robertson are playing awfully, then the stats overall, Van Dijk's going to concede more goals. He's going to have less clean sheets. So I think position-wise, same with striker. Striker could be doing everything right on the eye, making great runs, finishing every chance he has. But if the wingers and the attacking midfielders aren't creating those chances, then only the eye can tell you these things about defenders, about attackers. So I think the eye is good. It's you need it to tell if a player's good. Like, I think Van Dijk's been an example of this through Celtic and Southampton. You can clearly tell he was the most advanced player in that Southampton team. Remember Charlie Austin went on a podcast and said they all knew he was insane just from a few training sessions. So
there's a few great examples of those. I think you look at players like Ivan Toney, for example, is a great example of someone who, like, if you actually understand football and watch how he plays as a striker and what he does to defenders and how he
brings other players in.
And like that's a good example of you might look at the stats and be like, he's only a average Premier League striker, but if you actually put him up against them and like maybe put him like a City team or something else, you see how many goals he would get for teams like that. So
I think especially the eye test, and I don't know, I'm just thinking this off the top of my head, a lot of people might agree, but for us, like obviously us three more so watching, I suppose Man United as well, when your team isn't that great and you've got those couple of players you can see are better, but because your team's not that great, they might not get. I said it a couple of weeks ago about Nunes, who we've brought in, might not end the season with stats anywhere near comparable to other midfielders in the Premier League, but he's easily a class above Wolves. I think obviously in those sort of teams you have that, like with Grealish
bingo, there you go.
Yeah, I've won it this week. God knows.
I was literally about,
he keeps touching me. It's really doing my
I was about to say Grealish, great example, because the stats weren't there till the last season. Really.
I'll let you, but if you boys want to,
well, they were. You could tell.
They weren't,
we could tell Villa fans when we were watching Grealish in the Championship. We knew that
this man in particular.
There was genuinely an argument that he should have got in the England side when he was in that promotion team in the Championship.
Yeah, I think
obviously
when you're in the Championship,
that argument didn't get much further out of Birmingham.
Well, I remember the uproar when Phillips got it without playing a Premier League game, and everyone being Southgate hates Villa, blah blah blah. But no, Grealish was a great example. You could watch him, and then on the other hand, you had Albert Adoma, who that season, it was either that season or the season before,
Season before he got, like,
he finished
16
on like
goals.
16 goals, but I cannot tell you how bad that bloke was. January onwards, Albert Adomah was terrible. For that first 4 or 5 months of the season, he was on fire.
We had the exact same. Leo Bonatini from like September to January was the best striker in world football, and then he just dropped off.
Anwar Ghazi scored 10 goals in the 2021 Premier League season.
Yeah,
I know.
it's a great return.
It's a great stat. It's a great stat, that, because it's just so like. I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly sure Al Mohammadi had a great assist record for Villa as well. But like, did he? I can't remember that.
But no, I think all of us are saying eye test there.
Yeah.
I think eye test, but on team analysis, you've got
I like your point.
Stats to stats when it comes to team. You can't say, oh, they're playing great, they're a great watch, but they're conceding 4 goals a game because they're trying to play out the back.
6 points.
I feel like the differences with teams though is that football is a results game as much as it is. You want to look pretty. It is a results game. Like you look at Jose Mourinho, like the way he played at United, Van Gaal, people like that. Like that's sore to the eye, and the teams are also doing badly. So you
Big
look
Sam
at them saying,
lived off results game. Lived off results game.
I'll just like finish this. It's like, yeah, I would probably say eye test as well. But you look at Grealish. He's mentioned now.
I opened the door.
Grealish at City. Look, when you watch Grealish play, he looks like an unreal talent. Obviously, he's not set at City for various reasons. I don't think he's looked the same player at City as at Villa. But still, compare that to Sterling. When you look at Sterling, yeah, he does like have a bit about him, but you don't really think of Sterling. I mean, maybe you do, but you don't really think of Sterling. He's so nice to like watch. He's so good to watch. But yeah, he'll still be at the back post finishing chances.
Even at the Euros, like Sterling didn't fantastically do well. As an eye test, Sterling didn't necessarily do fantastically. But I wanted him to play. But I wanted him to play because
you need those players that will just get the stats up.
He was a cog in the machine.
Yeah,
and I think certain managers, that's what they're. Southgate, Pep, 2 examples of recent times. It's all a massive machine, and each player's a cog, and it may take the prettiness away. But what Pep's got a results machine like that, and again,
summed up by Haaland's touches, though, really, isn't it?
No, exactly. Yeah,
8
touches he had the other day, still scored 2.
Yeah, so
something like ridiculous.
He just knows he's got to be there, doesn't he?
Exactly, and that's going to take the prettiness away. But if you're a City fan, who cares?
Yeah.
You're still going to win the league.
Probably
that Champions League's coming, whether you like it or not. The only thing I can see stopping City on the Champions League this year is that Madrid side being like European gods, or PSG because they look very
City
decent
themselves.
this year.
I think City themselves. I mean, you look at that Chelsea final. Like Thomas Tuchel had no right to come in, win that final over Pep, who'd been there for that many years. But Pep just pretty much let him like Pep has been playing for that many years. He's probably had so much. I think he just overthinks these big occasions. I know, obviously, he can come out and City fans will defend him and say, why would he overthink? He's been here so many years, but why hasn't he done it before without Messi? Do you know what I mean? Like you can't just rely, like especially Pep, a player who recycle players so much. He can't then rely on one individual to say that's the only reason why I've won it. There's obviously something in there where it's like him bottling it or whatever.
But as you have mentioned Messi, just to wrap up the whole thing, there is the world class players pass the eye test and the stat test, don't they?
Oh yeah, and that's why they're the best.
That's what being world class.
That's why they're the best.
But
one thing I'll quickly say before we wrap this up, because we've got to mention it. I know we said this is not going to be subjective to what's happened in the week. Thomas Tuchel sacked by Chelsea. Graham Potter very swiftly put in place. Just really quickly, your thoughts? Good, bad?
I think shock. I think that's like. I don't know. On my first thoughts of it is, I remember watching the video. You got Graham Potter, like Bruno, all the Brighton coaching staff, just look so out of place walking into Cobham training ground. Most managers walk in. I bet you when Mourinho walked into Chelsea and Conte walked into Chelsea, they walked in like an aura.
Yeah.
But like Graham Potter walks in like he'd won a competition. Like obviously,
I think the only person to say later.
Yeah, as in, obviously he's a very good manager, and it's like refreshing to see an Englishman take charge of such a big job. I have my thoughts of it. I think it's horrendous for football that Chelsea can just take Brighton's manager just after the transfer window.
I think it's more disappointing the fact that like Potter, we spoke so highly of Brighton and the Potter's project, and
this almost looked like the season 4 Brighton.
I would have. It's difficult because
does it turn you off Potter a bit?
Wait.
Before, he did Ostersund's to Swansea.
He'd completed Ostersund's.
No,
I mean, he took him from the 3rd division.
Yeah, but still, Swansea. Yeah, but knowing that Brighton still poaching from Swansea after the season.
Like we can sit here and we say this, but if we were a manager and you got
thrown, I don't disregard Potter. I'm saying it was almost nice seeing Potter overachieve and play nice football.
Oh yeah, of course it would.
Bang average team.
And now he has to.
That Brighton team, I'm not saying they're in trouble by any means, but that next manager is going to be like, oh, and that's what I worry about Potter.
And stars will leave.
I think you're bang on about the aura, right? I think you're bang on about the aura. I think what's even a bigger problem for Chelsea, and I'm reflecting on Tuchel sacking. Do I think it was right? No. Do I understand they got a new regime and they were always going to get rid of their manager eventually?
Yeah,
Yes.
any business will always take out the old
the weird
bosses.
thing is how they backed Tuchel and brought in Aubameyang, who wanted to join because of Tuchel. That was weird. Getting rid of Tuchel, you could see that coming a mile off. You said you sat by Christmas, you called it again. But my point is with Potter, these players, Tuchel's just came in and won them a Champions League. He's changed their career. That's going to take some bonding away. Reece James could go on and have a bang average career now. Yeah. But he can look back and say he's won the Champions League. And set his Instagram profile picture when he's retired to him holding the Champions League. He's sorted.
For me, though, when you look at like
they owe him everything.
What is for me? I don't know. It's just like it's probably like a crap comment, but it's just like what I think. Do you know, like a football manager, you don't want to manage like the big clubs because it's boring. Surely it's like just Pep Guardiola and like these like massive managers.
Yeah,
like sometimes think, I know, but still, like, I'm managing these big teams. I'm going from big team to big team. I reckon if you're Pep Guardiola, I think why don't I go manage Barnsley?
Can I just stop you here? On Football Manager though, you can take Brighton to be a fucking title challenger in 2 seasons.
Yeah, but why doesn't Pep Guardiola just think
I can get paid a lot?
I can put my stake.
Barnsley aren't going to give Pep 40 million quid.
Yeah, but he's already made it. He's already made that money. Why doesn't? No, I'm just saying. Why doesn't?
Because if he loses with Barnsley, it goes terribly wrong. Then suddenly everyone says he's only good with money.
He could say, "Oh, I could be the best manager ever here if I prove myself with a different, like with a lower level."
Okay, he's not going to move to Barnsley.
No, I'm not.
So what you're saying is, if Potter goes to Chelsea and wins it all, he's the best manager ever because he proved it with Brighton and Ostersons.
No, I think for a manager to be considered, if they want to be considered the best ever,
you're telling Pep to go the opposite way.
I am.
So he started at Barcelona, went to Bayern Munich, went to City, now he's having to drop out the ladder. That sounds like the opposite way.
I'm telling Pep to go get like the Swansea job or something, and like get them promoted, and then I'll see.
He's taking them down. He's trying to get what Matt Grimes to play like Kevin De Bruyne. Bloody hell!
What makes him such a really good manager if you can only do a really great player?
Because the best manager deserve the best players. That's the way they work. You got to have the best players to understand the best ideas.
That's that point there. Why don't Premier League football players play on brick fields?
No, because
they're the elite. They're the elite. The elite people have elite facilities, elite equipment, elite players. It's like car companies. Mercedes don't hire a fresh graduate to go and design their car. they go and take Land Rover's designer because Land Rover have had a better year.
Yeah, but once you've done
that's
that,
what elitism is.
Once you've done that for 20 years, you maybe think, I want that job at Volvo.
Boris Johnson's not going to get a job at a school.
No, I'm pretty sure. Imagine so you're at Mercedes. You're the boss at Mercedes. You're on banging money. You're making the best car every year. Why the hell
would you leave?
Would you usually go? I'm going to Suzuki to have a season. You wouldn't.
On a spice up a Suzuki Swift.
You would not. You think he's got the effort to prove anything?
No, it's only a talking point. You're saying. I think it's like
you
got a Ford.
I'd just like to see a manager do it.
You got a Ford who are going to get results. They're like a big Sam team. They're going to get results. They're going to keep it over the line. Pep's not going to go there. They got their system.
I'd be calling for Pep at Villa in a few years.
I'm just saying, like, it would be interesting to see how a big manager did.
Okay,
just as a summary of this section, Adam asks managers to work in reverse, start at the top and work down.
All right. Right, on to the 2 banks of forecast. You know, it's that part of the show where we predict,
make knobs of ourselves.
We predict the week results. Obviously, last week all that section was completely irrelevant because the games didn't go ahead.
Because no one called it.
No one called it. If someone had called everything that happened, then they'd have won without doubt. But yeah, the leaderboard.
They also might be getting investigated.
Sorry, our cameraman started laughing and put his on. The leaderboard currently states that myself with 29 at the top. Shock. Second is the fourth man. We've kind of called it where the guest, as well as Aki, as well as Batch, as Cow, anyone who took the fourth seat merged their results. They're on 27. Third place, Liam, Adam Hilliard. Game in hand on 14. And Liam, no games in hand on 13.
Come on.
So yeah, that's the current state of play. But yeah, it's good to be back in the Prem this weekend with no games last week. A few called off because there's problems with police amounts or something because of the funeral. But yeah, kicking us off, a game I'm absolutely praying for. Aston Villa at home to Southampton Friday night. Adam.
First.
looking
3-0 Aston Villa. Turning point in the season.
Nice.
Then Donker first appearance. It's going to be. We beat Southampton 4-0 last time out at home. I think it's going to be a turning point of the season. Massive performance.
I'm very excited to hear what Harry Moore's under the lights reasoning will be for this. But obviously Southampton was the last game I watched. I liked Southampton. I thought they looked good. Southampton 2, Villa 0. Miserable Friday night for you boys.
Right. So Southampton looked like they actually.
Never a miserable Friday night.
So the difference is Southampton look like they've played football together before. So. That point against City don't really mean much because the week's gone, the momentum died. So I've got a horrid feeling that the under the lights tax isn't really going to pay off this week.
No way.
I think Saints could go up early. I think if we lose this, I think Steven Gerrard's done. I think it could be a very miserable week for Villa fans going into international break. 3-0 Southampton.
Oh, this is a bloke protecting himself. Yeah. When Villa win, we're gonna have to listen to "I Love Stevie G."
I think it's going to be 2-1 Southampton. I think you just haven't got like Joe Aribo probably score like 2 goals past you just because why not?
It would be Joe Aribo as well. Yeah, someone so average like Joe Aribo.
I like Joe Aribo.
But he just isn't.
Someone's played under Gerrard. Villa have been linked with before.
Yeah. That's like when bloody. Do you remember Wes Houlihan scored against us after he didn't celebrate, by the way, while he's still playing for the club which I'm signing for. But yeah, 2-1.
2-1.
Also on Friday night, 2 Friday night games. Weird weekend this. Forest host Fulham. Massive game for Forest, you'd have to say.
Fulham 1-0.
Yeah, Fulham 2-0.
2-0 Fulham. 2-0 Forest.
Ooh.
I think under the lights tax. Big.
Oh, so it works for Forest.
No, it does work for Forest because I think Forest have had that little games in the Premier League under the lights. They've still got the buzz about it. Whereas Villa, it's going to be a nervy atmosphere at Villa instead.
I think that's going to be just a very average 1-1 draw. You know,
I think that's a good game.
Exactly. But I think it'll be very end-to-end. Both teams will be going for it, especially in the later end of the game. But
both teams will be looking to win.
I think Mitrovic is going to cause issues in that defence. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Wolves and early at City should be fun for you boys.
It's not looking good, bro.
Was at home?
Yeah.
Early
lunchtime tax.
12:30.
No lights on.
The early kick-off, mate. You can't back it.
The fans haven't had time to get properly fucked yet. So, wow. No,
I just wouldn't even bother going there. We played City at half time. I'm not getting out of bed.
2-2.
Oh, brave.
I'm
going Diego Costa, first game, he's going to not score. He'll get a yellow.
So not equals 3 instead of a goal.
They might bring it on when you're 3-0 down because I'm going 3-0.
Well, Haaland will score 1 based on his movement because Collins and Kilman got caught out by Kane, so they're going to get caught out by Haaland.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think mine's your Haaland goal. We're going to win 2-1. So it's 2-2.
I'm going 2-0, 3-0 City. 3-0
I'm going to go 4-1 Man City.
Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves definitely.
Brighton postponed against Palace. Gutted.
That's actually a bit of a derby, isn't it? Let's got to skip over that.
Newcastle at home to Bournemouth. You don't fancy
4-0 Newcastle.
I feel if that's the case, I feel so bad for Bournemouth fans. Nah, Bournemouth to keep this sort of holding their own thing with a goal for those travelling fans. 1-1.
2-1 Newcastle.
0-0. Boring old game.
The only other game that day, it's depressing, that 3 games on Saturday. Tottenham versus Leicester at Tottenham under the lights. Come on,
how many is the question?
Leicester for me. Other than obviously Bournemouth, look like the worst team in the league. I just thought I'd put it out there. I just want to say that before you said your prediction. They are shocking. Other than
2-0 Tottenham.
It will probably only be 2, but just for the sake of it, TV, it's on the telly. 6-0 Spurs.
I'm gonna go. You know how you know how in fantasy football people say they're gonna choose a different captain to everyone else just in case like Haaland blanks.
Yeah, fair.
I'm gonna just go with a Leicester draw. I think 2-2.
Yeah, okay. So you're playing for the points difference.
I'm playing for the points difference. Yeah,
but there's a risk of falling even further behind.
I know. Yeah, fair enough. If they score 6, the old man's gonna say great prediction.
I think I'll follow you on that. I want to. Yeah, we're gonna go 1-0 Leicester City.
Second worst team in the league. Better than win.
But it's
just one of those games. It's one of those games.
Sunday.
Spurs have got a history of that.
12 o'clock kickoff. Ew. Brentford at home to Arsenal, but there was talk about this being the other game that gets called off. It hasn't been confirmed yet. Sure. But if it goes ahead, Brentford.
I predict postponement.
Yeah, Brentford versus Arsenal.
If it goes ahead, I think Arsenal. It's still a bounce back game, isn't it, for Arsenal? 3-1 Arsenal.
I'm gonna go 2-2. Actually, I think Brentford, they're a bit slippery for Arsenal last season. I think sometimes that can stay.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal. It's gonna be a tough game.
I was also gonna go 2-2, just based on the fact, obviously, I mentioned about Tony. I mean, you see how Saliba got caught out and Gabriel got caught out against United. I mean, there's no way that Brentford can't do that to them as well, considering how they embarrassed this same Man United team. I know obviously they're playing slightly differently, but they still embarrassed the same Man United team, so they can definitely do it to Arsenal.
Okay, United postponed against Leeds. Everton at home to West Ham in the 2:15. You don't touch this on your echo, I don't think.
Tough game.
1-0. So I don't really have a good prediction for that.
No, yeah.
I think this might be my 3rd or 4th week of saying West Ham are going to get their season started. Just a plain and simple 1-0 West Ham.
I think Everton will come out the traps. Good result against Liverpool. 2-1 Everton.
I think, Big Frank's going to get a good game. Everyone will start rating him again. I think it's going to be 3-0.
Oh, nice.
Go out there. May as well.
Chelsea, Liverpool postponed. So, moving on. Who's your player then? Who's going to back this week?
Our random player of the week.
Random player of the week. So you know the rules on this.
Yeah.
Well,
anyone shout it out, lads? Because
Vladimir Kufal, same every week.
He's
He's got to get a goal a season.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'm going to completely go against you on that. I'm going to go. Is it Ben Johnson? The guy who plays in the same position?
Is he not injured at the moment?
Oh, I don't know.
We're going for 2 West Ham forwards.
Okay,
That's a bold prediction.
I think Ben Johnson.
I'm going to hold on Ben. I'm going to retreat Ben Johnson if he's injured because I don't know about that. If he now goes on the scores, I'll be absolutely gutted.
What day is it today?
It is.
They've also got Emerson who plays.
They've changed your mind. Dan Axel Zagadou signing for West Ham and he's bagging.
So you're predicting the guy that currently is a free agent to
Yep.
go and score? Okay, fair enough.
I'll be so pissed off if Kufal
I'm
scores
going to
this
go
season.
with Collins from Wolves.
Well, we had Totti Gomez last week. He didn't play.
Does it have to be like a defender?
No, just
someone
like
that's not going to.
score.
Just someone who's just not known.
I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for. He came on against Wolves for Southampton. Good last 20 minutes. I think he'll score off the bench against Villa. Samuel Edozie, is it the Man City kid?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go. Lisandro Martinez. I reckon he gets just a little header back post.
Nice.
Oh, bloody! I got to climb some.
He's actually very good in the air. So.
Maybe if like Ronaldo gets on the shoulder.
Yeah. So that's that. Forecast.
We need who captain this week in your fantasy?
Captained.
I'll kick mine off. I'm going with Kieran Trippier for the Bournemouth game with Newcastle. Scoring a free kick.
I'm going to keep Haaland as captain just because
You have to keep him.
Vice-
It's too risky.
He's playing Wolves, isn't he?
I'm very tempted by Shea. I'm very tempted by Shea Adams. Right, Shea Adams.
Is that just shock player to score?
No, Shea Adams. Right.
Ex-Blue Nose versus the Villa.
He's an ex-Blue Nose versus the Villa. Villa defensively shaky this season. I just think he will score. He'll blank for 8 games and he'll score a double. And I think he got a few goals. Am I right? I think he got a few goals against Leeds.
Captain?
No, I haven't got on my team yet. But I'm saying I haven't done my FPL yet. But I'm really considering him putting Vice. Haaland stay on my captain now.
I think Haaland is my captain, or it'd be Rashford by the end of the week, just because he's been on a bit of form recently. He's scoring goals. He's not looking that great, I don't think, in the play, but he is scoring goals. So.
And yourself?
Said mine.
Trippier. Okay.
But the other thing is, are we doing bet of the week? Is that in this part?
Yeah, let's get it to the bet slip. As we did this section last week briefly. Anyone who is a bet area, obviously I know most people watching this are probably over 18, so I'm sure you've had a
not tips, by the way.
Not tips, not advice.
Everyone's over 18. You've had like a 16-year-old James Batchelor on
random punts. Literally random punts.
Set your own risk.
So I'm gonna kick us off and just go off the top of my head. Forest and Fulham both teams to score. As my first. I'm gonna go for a fourfold. Fulham and both teams score. Everton to win to 0. So not to concede against West Ham, but they'll still win the game. God, I don't know. Villa Saints both teams to score. And my final will be Leicester to have a red card. Nice little fourfold there. Probably good odds.
I'll be going for...
I'll flash the odds on the screen, just so you can see if you fancy copying.
I'll be going for a Wolves draw. I'm going to go for a Southampton win. Spurs win, and then I'm going to bet on a Kieran Trippier goal Newcastle game.
Ooh, not a bad shout from a free kick. Go on, Adam. I'm still looking at the games.
Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on Sky Bet 5 minutes before a game kicks off. Go on a bet builder. and click whatever I fancy at the time.
Right,
I
okay.
do not have a bet slip for the moment.
Right.
Fair enough.
Not going to tell us what you fancy.
So I'd go Forest and
And it's
Fulham.
not going to come in.
Forest and Fulham to be a draw, Villa to lose, well, so obviously Southampton to win, Man City to win, and Leicester to beat Spurs. Just to back my prediction.
That's your odds.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
Just
I
to
like
actually
it.
back my prediction.
I like
yeah.
it.
So we've got the new section next. Is it all we do?
So yeah, on to our final section.
Stay tuned for the new bit.
What do we call it again?
I want it to be called 2 ranks of 4.
Two ranks of 4. If anyone's got a good name for our quiz,
It's a quiz, yeah.
submit it, because after this break,
Quizzing
we're on to
myself.
After this break, we're on to the quiz. Going to see where Cal Lane can set the bar for everyone else.
So guys, welcome to the first instalment of what we're calling the 2 ranks of 4. That is up for renaming, by the way. So me, Adam and Harry have all sent in some questions, a couple of easy, couple of medium, couple of hard. We're going to fire as many at Cal in 60 seconds as possible, and then he's going to get a points tally, and that'll be sort of competed with in a Top Gear sort of style ranking system. So Cal, how are you feeling? First ever contestant.
I mean, yeah, I'm feeling good. I mean, never really done anything like this before.
We've had a few takes here, so I'm going to ask Cal the first question again because he's still yet to get it right. But other than that, we'll be straight into questions you won't know. Okay. 60 seconds on the clock. Cal, you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. What is the Brighton versus Crystal Palace derby more commonly known as?
I have no idea. Pass.
Incorrect. M23. Who was the most recent defender to win the Ballon d'Or?
Sergio Ramos.
Incorrect. Cannavaro. In what years were MK Dons founded?
19.
Incorrect. 2014. Who won the first ever Premier League campaign?
Man United.
Correct. What year did West Ham leave the bowling ground?
2012.
No, incorrect. 2016. What lower league club did Edgar Davies retire at?
Notts County.
Incorrect. Barnet. Who scored the only goal of the Euro 2016 final?
Goetze.
Incorrect. Adair.
That was the wrong final.
What is Charlton Athletic Stadium called?
Oh, I know this as well. Pass. I do know.
No, incorrect. The Valley. Who won the first ever World Cup?
Uruguay.
Correct. The Premier League Thames Ironworks is the former name of which Premier League club?
West Ham.
Correct. In what year were AFC Wimbledon founded?
2002.
Incorrect. 2001. And that is the end of our first 2 ranks of 4. Harry, have you got Cal's score tallied up, or is that to do that in the end?
I think I got 3.
It was 3.
3. Cal ends on 3.
That was a hard
set of first questions.
Hard
set of first questions.
It's not going to be an easy quiz.
Yeah. Well then, Cal,
The AFC Wimbledon, I should have got half a point for that. 2002, 2001, 1 year off. But yeah.